Welcome back. You are listening to the home of forbidden romances. Prepare yourself, because tonight's story will leave you breathless. Run. That was the only command screaming through Ren's mind as he scrambled over the wet cobblestones, his breath tearing through his lungs like jagged glass. Thunder cracked overhead, shaking the very foundations of the obsidian walls surrounding the Vane estate, but Ren didn't dare look back. He couldn't. If he looked back, he would see him. He would see the burning crimson eyes of a predator who had finally realized his prey was slipping through the bars of the gilded cage. Rain plastered Ren's cheap linen shirt to his trembling frame, soaking him to the bone, but the cold was nothing compared to the phantom heat of the Archduke's touch that still lingered on his skin. He reached the heavy iron gates, his fingers fumbling with the latch, desperate, frantic. "Going somewhere, my little pet." The voice was low, smooth like velvet wrapped around a dagger, and it didn't come from behind him. It came from everywhere. Ren froze, his hand paralyzed on the cold iron. Slowly he turned. Standing 10 paces away, unaffected by the torrential downpour, stood Archduke Kalen Vane. He wore no coat, his black silk shirt clinging to a chest broad enough to break a man. His silver hair slicked back, revealing a face carved by the gods for cruelty. He didn't look angry. He looked hungry. I can't stay here, Your Grace," Ren stammered, stepping back until his spine hit the gate. "You speak of leaving," Kalen murmured, taking a slow, deliberate step forward, the water seemingly parting around his boots. "After what we did, after what we created, it was a mistake," Ren cried out, the rain hiding his tears. "I am a servant. You are the dragon of the north. One night of madness changes nothing." Kalen was upon him in a blink, a blur of dark motion. His hand, gloved in fine leather, slammed against the gate beside Ren's head, trapping him. Kalen leaned in, inhaling the scent of Ren's terror. "It changes everything, Ren. You warmed my bed. You took my seat. And now..." His other hand moved to rest possessively, heavily, over Ren's stomach. "Now, you will give me a family." To understand how a lowly valet ended up pinned against a gate by the most feared man in the empire, one must understand the hierarchy of the Vane household. It was a place of silence and shadows. Archduke Kalen Vane was a war hero, a mage of terrifying power, and a man rumored to have a heart of ice. He was 30 years of absolute authority. Ren was 22, an orphan with soft eyes and nimble fingers, hired to polish silver and ensure the master's wine was decanted to the precise temperature. For 3 years, Ren had been invisible. He was a ghost in the hallways, bowing when the Archduke passed, never daring to meet those blood-red eyes. Until the night of the blue moon fever. It was a magical ailment, a curse sent by a rival bloodline. It boiled the blood and froze the marrow. The healers had been barred from the room because Kalen's magic was lashing out, killing anyone with a magical core who tried to approach. But Ren had no magic. He was a null, a vessel of emptiness. The head steward had shoved Ren into the master bedroom with a basin of water and a terrifying order. Asterisk, keep him alive until the fever breaks. If he dies, you die. Asterisk. Ren remembered the smell of ozone and sweat. The room was destroyed, 4-poster bed frame cracked, curtains shredded by invisible claws of mana. In the center of the wreckage lay Kalen, writhing, his skin glowing with feverish runes. Ren had approached him like one approaches a wounded tiger. He had wiped the sweat from Kalen's brow, whispering soothing nonsense, trying to cool the burning skin. But the fever was magical, water did nothing. The cold radiating from Kalen was so intense it began to frost the windows. He was freezing to death from the inside out. "Cold," Kalen had rasped, his eyes squeezed shut, teeth chattering violently. "So, cold." Logic dictated that Ren should call for more blankets. But the magical storm swirling around the bed shredded the silk sheets the moment Ren tried to cover him. The only thing the magic didn't attack was Ren himself, the null. Ren didn't think. He didn't calculate the social ramifications. He simply saw a man dying. He kicked off his boots, climbed into the ruined bed, and wrapped his body around the shivering Archduke. "I'm here, Master," Ren had whispered, pulling Kalen's head onto his chest. "I'm here." That should have been it. Body heat. Survival. But Kalen Vane was a man of dominance, even in delirium. When he felt the warmth, he didn't just accept it. He claimed it. His arms had locked around Rin like iron bands. The magic, sensing a grounding wire in Rin's null presence, surged. The line between healing and desire blurred in the haze of the fever. The curse demanded vitality, and Kalen took it. It wasn't gentle. It was a collision of desperate need. Rin should have pushed him away. He should have struck the master and fled. But as Kalen's lips crashed against his, desperate and searching, Rin felt a spark ignite in his own lonely soul. For the first time in his life, he wasn't invisible. He was the center of the universe. They had slept together. Not just sleep. They had tangled limbs and breaths and souls until the sun rose and the fever broke. And now, 3 weeks later, the consequences were unraveling Rin's sanity. Rin sat on the edge of the velvet chaise in the Archduke's private study. He was supposed to be polishing the armor stands in the hallway, but Kalen had summoned him. "Drink," Kalen commanded. He placed a cup of warm, spiced milk on the mahogany desk. Kalen sat behind it, looking immaculate in a high-collared navy tunic, reviewing documents. He hadn't looked up, but his command was absolute. Rin stared at the cup. "Your Grace, I am not thirsty. And I have duties." "Your duty is to be healthy," Kalen cut in, his quill scratching loudly against the parchment. "You look pale. You've lost weight." "I am a servant, sir. We tend to be thin." Kalen finally looked up. The crimson eyes narrowed. "You are not a servant. Not anymore." "I am," Rin protested, standing up. "Please, Your Grace. You must stop this. The other staff. They whisper. They say I seduced you while you were vulnerable. They say I'm a whore climbing the ladder." Kalen's pen snapped in half. The sound echoed like a gunshot in the quiet room. Slowly, Kalen rose. The aura of power he projected was suffocating. He walked around the desk, and Rin instinctively retreated, but the room was small, and Kalen was large. "Let them whisper," Kalen said, his voice dropping to a dangerous rumble. "If they speak ill of you, I will have their tongues cut out." "That is exactly what I mean," Rin cried, distressed. "You are a tyrant, and I am just. I am a nobody." Kalen stopped inches from him. He reached out, tucking a stray lock of brown hair behind Ren's ear. His fingers lingered on Ren's neck, over the pulse point. "You are not a nobody. You are the only person who could walk through my storm without burning," Kalen said softly. "Do you know why I summoned you?" Ren shook his head, trembling. "The physician was here this morning. To examine me." Kalen paused, watching Ren's reaction closely. "He told me that the specific curse I suffered. It has a biological feedback loop. When a mage of my caliber binds with a null during a fever break, the energy doesn't just dissipate. It creates." Ren's eyes widened. "Creates a bond," Kalen clarified, though his eyes drifted to Ren's midsection. "A permanent tether. And in rare cases, biological consequences. You have been ill in the mornings, Ren. Don't lie to me." Ren's hand flew to his mouth. It was true. For the last week, the smell of the kitchens had made him gag. That's impossible. I'm a man. Magic cares little for biology, and I am an archduke of the high arcana. My will reshapes reality, Kalen said, his arrogance staggering. "I have decided. We are to be a family." "A family?" Ren whispered, horrified. "You want to trap me because of a magical accident." "Accident?" Kalen's face darkened. He grabbed Ren's chin, forcing him to look up. "Do you think I let just anyone into my bed? Do you think I allow anyone to touch me? I have spent 30 years alone because everyone who touches me wants my power or my money. You gave me your heat to save my life. You didn't ask for a reward. You tried to slip away the next morning like a thief. Because I knew my place. Your place is by my side." Kalen roared, the windows rattling. Ren flinched, and Kalen immediately recoiled, taking a deep breath to rein in his temper. "I am not a good man, Ron," Kalen said, his voice straining with control. "I am possessive. I am jealous. And I get what I want. I want you. I want the child that might be growing inside you. I want to wake up and see you there, not polishing my boots, but wearing my ring." "You want a prisoner," Ren said, his voice shaking. "You don't love me. You love that I survived you." Ren turned and ran. That was how he ended up at the gates in the rain. Back in the present, the rain continued to pour, washing over the two men standing at the precipice of their future. Kalen's hand was still on Ren's stomach. The heat of it soaked through the wet clothes. I don't want a prisoner, Kalen said, his voice barely audible over the thunder. Run, look at me. Ren refused, squeezing his eyes shut. If I go back, I disappear. I become just the Archduke's consort. I lose myself. If you go out there, Kalen gestured to the dark forest beyond the gates, you die? You have no money. You have no protection. And my enemies will smell my magic on you. They will hunt you down to get to me. Is that what you want? To be used as bait? Ren sobbed, a dry, wretched sound. Why do you care? Why? Because you are the first thing in this world that has ever felt warm, Kalen confessed, the vulnerability in his voice shocking Ren into opening his eyes. The Archduke looked broken. The rain matted his silver hair, and the arrogance was gone, replaced by a desperate, naked fear. I have gold, land, armies, Kalen said, stepping closer, pressing his forehead against Ren's. And I would burn it all to ash if it meant you stayed of your own free will. Please, give me a chance. Not as your master. Just as. Kalen. Ren looked into those crimson eyes. He saw the monster the world feared, but he also saw the man who had clung to him in the dark, terrified of the cold. And if I stay? Ren whispered. What then? Then I court you, Kalen vowed. Properly. Flowers, poetry, awkward dinners where I threaten the chef if the soup isn't perfect. I will woo you until you realize that you belong here. Not because I ordered it, but because you choose it. And the baby? Ren asked, his hand covering Kalen's hand on his stomach. If there is a child, Kalen said fiercely, they will be the heir to the north. But they will come second. You will always be first. Ren trembled. It was madness. It was Stockholm syndrome wrapped in silk. But as the cold rain lashed against his back, the warmth of the man in front of him was the only thing that felt real. One chance, Ren whispered. But if you treat me like a servant again, if you order me instead of asking me, I will leave. And next time, I'll use a portal scroll. Kalen let out a breath he seemed to have been holding for hours. A small, rare smile touched his lips, transforming his face from terrifying to devastatingly handsome. Deal, Kalen murmured. He swept Ren up into his arms, bridal style. Ren gasped, clutching Kalen's shoulders. What are you doing? I can walk. You're cold, Kalen stated, turning back toward the manor. And my future husband does not walk in the mud. Husband, Ren squeaked. I said I'd give you a chance, not marry you. Details, Kalen dismissed, holding him tighter. We have plenty of time to argue about the wedding arrangements. But first, a hot bath. For two. Ren buried his face in Kalen's neck to hide his burning blush. You are insufferable. And you are mine, Kalen whispered into his hair. As they walked back toward the towering estate, the servants watching from the windows saw the impossible. They saw the dragon of the north, the man who bowed to no one, carrying a soaking wet valet as if he were holding the crown jewels themselves. The master had wanted a family, but he had learned that a family wasn't taken, it was built. And he was ready to lay the first stone tonight. And that is how the lonely dragon caught his runaway bride. If you enjoyed seeing the powerful Archduke vain begging for a chance at love, destroy that like button. And tell me in the comments, if a powerful billionaire trapped you to give him a family, would you run for the hills or stay for the luxury? I'll be reading your answers. Subscribe for the next chapter. Until then,